Welcome to Faith to Lead. I'm so glad that you're here today because I want to talk to you about another leadership theory, style, practice, or behavior. And we're going to unpack today, what does it mean to be a transformational leader? That's right, a transformational leader. You've probably heard that term thrown around and different people say, I'm a transformational leader. I'm looking for a transformational leader. Or maybe you never heard of that term before. But we're going to discuss exactly what it is right here on Faith to Lead. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and share this podcast. You can subscribe to it or visit us at faithtolead.com, where there's even more resources and a community that'll engage, because we want to hear your comments. We want to hear your thoughts about what you think it means to be a transformational leader. So let's jump into some fresh scholarship and just kind of look at what people have said about transformational leadership throughout the years. And you know, what research is showing us is that employees, and think of the people on your team, think of the people who follow you, they do not necessarily perceive what's called transactional leaders as the individuals most capable of creating, trusting, or benefiting their leader-follower relationship. A transactional leader is someone who says, if you do this here, you'll get that. If you don't do this here, you won't get that. If you help me, I'll help you. So everything is an exchange. Everything is, if I want to get something, I've got to do something, and it's kind of back and forth. But instead, followers are looking for transformational leadership that will encourage their creativity, recognize their accomplishments, build trust, and inspire a collective vision. You know, let me give a quick pause. Think of your life right now. That's right. You know, I want to get inside your mind today. I want to get inside your heart, get you a little bit reflective. If I were to ask you, name me 3 people in your life experience that have had the most profound impact on your life, real quick, who would those 3 people be? Don't even think about it. Just say, well, it'd be this, my grandmother, my father, my college coach, my whatever, this person, this figure. And think of all the reasons why that person has influenced you so much. What it means to you, not just the words they said, but the experiences you had with them, how they changed your life trajectory, how they made you who you are today. It could be anyone. And whoever those individuals are, guess what? Those are people that in your life experience were transformational leaders, because you changed. You became someone different because you experienced them in your life. And there's an aspect of leadership, if you want to be a transformational leader, that people have delved into and they've studied and they've researched. And I want to bring that right here to you today. So the first is, let me give you a biblical scripture. This is to answer some of our faith needs and where we can see in the Bible some people that were transformational leaders. And this comes out of 1 John chapter 1, right around verse 3. And it says, that which we have seen and heard, is something that they've seen and heard, we declare to you, that you also may have fellowship with us. And truly our fellowship is with the Father and with the Son, Jesus Christ. And these things we write to you, that your joy may be full. And this was a scripture that I love to look at and to reflect on, because what it is, it's from eyewitnesses. People have said, we're not going to talk to you just religion based upon what we read in the book, what we heard, someone else bantered around, what we heard in a meeting or in a community or in a class. We actually saw some things with our own 2 eyes. We heard some things with our own 2 ears. Our hands have actually touched him and handled him. And he's saying, we're sharing you what was shared with us from the original source. And it's saying, we're sharing all these things with you so that your life can now become more complete. Whenever you hear those words where people said, I'm an eyewitness, so I'm going to share with you exactly what I saw, and what I'm going to share changed my life, and therefore it's going to change your life. You're listening to a person that has had a transformational encounter with someone where they can testify of it, see it, and experience it. So when you think of transformational leadership, think of it from those lenses. You need to become inspired at the eyewitness level so that you can inspire other people and so that they can become complete through that inspiration. What's inspiring you today? What's motivating you? What's pushing you? What vision do you have of your corporation, of your institution, of your team that's saying, I can't sleep at night unless I see this thing? And it has you going so much that you're saying, I want to share this with my team, and I want to exhibit the behaviors that model it with my team, because as they fulfill it in their personal lives, they're going to become more fulfilled. And that's key. Now, let's talk a little bit about some leadership theory. Transformational leadership, just like every other leadership style, you have servant leadership, transformational leadership, authentic leadership, ethical leadership, creative leadership. There's so many traits, skill leadership. But transformational leadership, it's a process, just like all the others. And what it's geared to do is it changes and transforms the lives of your followers. It's concerned with their emotions, their values, their ethics, their standards, their long-term goals. Think of that same story about those people who in your mind are your top three. Your Mount Rushmore of leadership in your life, whoever these are. Odds are they influence your emotions. They impacted your values, what you think is right, wrong, too far, or not far enough. Your ethics, doing the right things. Your standards, doing things right. And really who you want to be as a person when you're all grown up, fully fulfilled. The odds are that your encounters, your experiences with them influence each of those aspects. And leadership, transformational leadership, it can be used to influence people at a one-to-one level, but it also works organization-wide and even cultural-wide. When you look at people in public office, and I've had the opportunity to mentor people in public office. I served in public office. It's transformational leadership works awesomely well when you deal with socio and political environments and leadership over communities, and you're going out in front of a lot of other people and you're saying, how much one-to-one can I do? But being transformational, many of these values and traits work extremely well when you're doing that macro level leadership. So when you look at your leadership style, your leadership context, it doesn't matter if it's one-to-one, whether it's organization-wide, whether it's society-wide. Transformational leadership probably has some traits in it, some behaviors that you're going to want to excel in. So you want to make the distinction, see the difference, the contrast between being transactional or transformational. Transactional leadership is almost like a lower level of leadership. Transformational leadership is something completely different. When you're transactional, it implies that you have an ongoing exchange with your follower. You're giving them promises for things you're getting in return. You may be diligent with that, but at the end of the day, it's the old-fashioned, you give, you get. Transformational leadership, it means that you're going to create a connection with that person. Saying it really doesn't matter what you give or don't give. Based on the person that I am, I want you to have a connection with me. And based on this connection, your motivation is going to increase. Your morality, your trust, your sense of ethics, the trajectory of your life is going to be better off. And not only is it going to be better off for you as a follower, it's I get something out of pouring myself into you. There's something about you that's worth me spending time with. There's something about you that's worth me committing to. There's something about me that's going to enjoy seeing you excel. And you feel that way. You're inspired that way. And they sense that inspiration. The moment that happens, people, they can sniff through someone that's fake or someone who says, I'm only here for a minute. I only need you to do something for me. And if you do something for me, I'll do something for you. They can smell that a mile off. But once you take that role that says, I'm not just here for a transaction. I'm not just here for you to get things done. I want to be a transformational influence on your life. People can sense that just as well. Here's a key element of being transformational. It means that you're ethically strong. There's a term that's called pseudo-transformational, P-S-E-U-D-O. It's the Greek way of saying false. And pseudo-transformational, those are people who use their leadership influence, their roles, their titles, their power base to transform people into doing the wrong things. It's the old-fashioned leader or the executive who says, there's some things that I want done for my own personal gain, and I'm going to get other people to do it, to put their name on it, so that they'll be my fall guy. I won't get any blame, but I'll get all the spoils if it works out right. Sometimes people will look at those individuals and say, wow, they're influential, they're powerful. Is that a transformational leader? No, that's a pseudo-transformational leader. They're turning people into the wrong kind of people. The type of transformational leader that really stands the test of time. If you really look throughout history, I'm not getting preachy with you, do your historical studies, the leaders that are recognized, that remained, that the terms of their leadership were the longest and the most successful, they weren't pseudo-transformational. They were authentically transformational. So let me give you 4 quick, what's called throughout industry, the 4 I's. That's right, the 4 I, the letter I, of transformational leadership. These are things you can do today. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to reflect on this. I want you to see exactly how you can enhance your leadership style and improve based upon this. Be open to the growth and the development of it. And you can share this podcast, subscribe to it, check out faith2lead.com where you can engage. We want to hear your comments in our community forum that's there, to just say what you see and who are some of the people that were transformational to you and why. Let us know that. That's where you'll be able to hear other comments and glean even more from this topic. But when you look at the 4 I's, all right, of transformational leadership, that's a quick way to remember it. The first is what they call idealized influence. And idealized influence, it's really the emotional component. I would say it's more the impartational component. And that's when a follower looks at you and they say, you know what? It's like the child who's walking with their parent and then they hear a loud noise. And you know the first thing that child will do is they'll look at their parent for the reaction. Should I be scared? Should I be afraid? Should I run? Is this a problem or is all well? And what does that child do? Based on that parent's reaction, that's how they begin to see the world. Okay, if mom and dad aren't afraid, then I shouldn't be afraid. If they're saying quickly move across the street, I should quickly move across the street. Why? Because the influence you have on that person, the influence that parent has on that child's already idealizing them. You influence me. I trust your reactions to situations. I trust your reads on them. I know that I should follow your mode, your behavior, your conduct. That's idealized influence. So when you look at a transformational leader, it's the person who is representing certain ideals through their life experience. You know, when I'm in this environment and I see someone acting dysfunctional, it makes me reflect back on another leader that I saw and how they would handle that same situation. That would be a transformational leader because they showed you some ideals. They lived it. They didn't just say it. These weren't words on a piece of paper. They actually represented them. They actually exhibited these ideals. They walked with those values. You got a chance to see them behind the scenes, and now they're influencing you. As a transformational leader, you want to figure out what ideals you need to be an influencer of, that you have to personify and exemplify so that everyone else in your environment says, I want to follow you, not just to get things done. I want to follow you so that I could become a better person. Once you reach that level, you've reached transformational leader. The second I, remember the first one is idealized influence. The second is what they call inspirational motivation. It's when you can actually encourage and push people and get people motivated by getting them to buy into a shared vision of where everyone is heading. You're raising the team spirit. You know, one of the dilemmas you'll see in any form of leadership is when a leader has a team, but there's nothing inspiring about what they say. I get this all the time when people, they'll go in and they'll go into a vision casting session, they'll go into a conceptualizing session, strategic planning session, whatever you want to call it. And then they'll say, where do we want to be in a year, 2 years, 6 months, or next quarter? And it is this temptation to set the bar too low, to say, well, let's set the bar low enough so that we can achieve it, so that way we won't be disappointed if we don't reach a certain bar. So it's almost like they want to set a bar that their mind can already conceive as achievable, that speaks to the resources that they only have right now, so that way they won't be sad, that they were disappointed that they couldn't achieve something. That may be the safest play. That may be the right way to manage yourself day to day. But what you need to bring to your team is inspiration, something that moves the needle, something that says, we're not there yet, but here's where we can be. This is what we're striving for. We don't have all those resources yet, but this is how we will acquire those resources, or this is the direction, this is who we are, and this is where we can be. This is what we can achieve. And that you're walking with that level of excitement, that level of positivity, and you're raising the level of team spirit, not just sustaining the level of team spirit. So what you want to give as a transformational leader, you want to ask yourself the question, am I inspiring people? Am I managing them or am I inspiring them? Do they know where we're going? And do they get a sense of joy and of fulfillment and of inspiration about the general direction of things? So don't forget the first one. It was idealized influence, right? You got that? That was the first I. The second one was inspirational motivation. Here's the third, intellectual stimulation. It's the capability where you can foster, push, and encourage creativity, innovation, and to challenge people's beliefs and values. Don't miss that last point. It's when a person says, you know what, here's the way I thought before I was in this team. A transformational leader says, that's the way you thought before. But now that you're here on this team, I want to shift the way you think. I want you to do a mind shift. I want you to see the world differently. I want you to see yourself differently. I want you to think about what you can achieve and accomplish on a team of people that's different than even you came into this room with. I want you to be creative. I want you to be innovative. We're going to a place that you've never been. Transformational leaders, they will engage their followers and challenge their thought process, challenge their minds, even challenge some of their values to show them that more is possible and achievable. If you were to go right back and look at those three people that were in your life that actually transformed you, odds are they challenged some things in you. There's some things that you never thought could happen, some things you never thought could be done that they did, that they achieved, that they accomplished. And as a result of that, your mind changed, your thoughts changed. You want to bring that component to your team. You can do it. The last I, don't forget, the first was idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation. It's what's called individual consideration. You got that? These are the 4 I's. And that's when a person or a follower, they feel like they're in a supportive climate in which you, as their leader, are listening carefully to their needs. It's when you presenting yourself not as a directive authoritarian, not as the boss, not as the quintessential, this is the man or the woman upstairs, but where you come along as a coach and an advisor while facilitating their full potential. You will see some common strands, incidentally, about leadership theories from transformational to servant to many other. Some of these traits, these behaviors, are eerily similar because they are the same. Individual consideration is when a person says, yeah, I'm on a team of 10 people, I'm on a team of 20 people, but that leader really knows me. They treat me like an individual, not like a number. They treat me as a person that they care about, not just a person who came in that's on their way out and then they can get someone else to fulfill the same exact role that I've done, and they've done that time and time again. Sometimes I hear leaders saying that. We did this before you were here, and we'll do this long after you're gone. Individual consideration, it actually contrasts those types of words. It lets a person know, now that you're here, there's some things we could never do before because of what you bring to this team. It tells a person, I know your strengths, I know there's some things you're challenging with, but we'll take you just as you are because you're going to help us move the needle. So I want you to tell us what you need. I want you to tell us what you're concerned about, because today, getting you right is our priority. So we're going to coach you, we're going to advise you, we're going to support you because you're the right one to be here. Those words contrast a lot of fears and a lot of insecurities that people bring to their work environment. And so if you can put those 4 I's together, that was idealized influence, that was intellectual stimulation, individual consideration, inspirational motivation, all of those aspects together is what's considered transformational leadership. I'm going to encourage you today, see which one of those I's, actually, I want you to comment on this. Which one of those I's are you strongest at? Which one of those I's are you weakest at? And which one of those I's are you challenged about? Say, I don't know if that's true for being a transformational leadership. But when you look at the theory of it, the study of it, all the assessments that are done, they've all agreed that these are 4 sentinel aspects of what constitutes transformational leadership. Now, let me tell you a story about how this happened to me in practice. Years ago, when I was in college and university, I always had this interest in public service, politics, running for office. Sometimes people ask me, who was the person that inspired you the most? Why did you run? Who are you trying to be like? What motivated you to do it? And that's a story for another day. But what I could tell you is when I was on a college campus, and I was right around my sophomore, junior year, I was watching CNN. I was watching the television. And at that time, the country was in war. It was in the first war against Iraq. Actually, maybe not the first war, but it was the prevalent war. And every day, there was a gentleman, a military gentleman, who would come on the air and give a detailed report to the press about the state of the war, representing the troops, and what's going on. And for the first time in my life, I felt compelled that I had to watch the news every single day. Because when I looked at this individual, I said, the way he's carrying himself, his mastery of his subject, his confidence, but yet his sincerity, his integrity, and the respect he commanded amongst his peers, amongst the press, amongst the president at that time, I said, I've never seen anything like it. The name of that man is Colin Powell. And that had such an impact on my life that I watched every one of his press conferences. And I said, you know what? I want to be an individual of substance. I want to be someone that studies. I want to be someone who can speak out on behalf of their country, their community, who's not just saying how they feel, but it's actually substantive, scholarly, backed with integrity, in which they're earning and gaining respect, in which everyone feels good about what they're saying, not just because they're giving out platitudes, but because what they're saying is right, that it has a strong base, a strong ethical base, and yet it had the strength of a nation. And so I actually, when I watched him and I saw all those press conferences, that's what motivated me to get active. I said, I want to do that for my own town. I want to do that for my own community. I want to be like that person. That's a transformational leader. Sometimes it's not a person who you've met. It's a person that you've seen that's had a profound impact on your life, that exhibits those four eyes, that they stimulate your mind, that they inspire you, that they exhibit certain ideals, that you say, you know what, I want to live by those same standards. You can look time and time again in different contexts that I've been in, whether it was in public service, whether it was in the church. I have a father who was exceedingly transformational, that everywhere he went, he would start a church from absolutely nothing, no members, no buildings, nothing, and the church would flourish. But yet, when you looked at how he lives his life, he exhibits every one of these traits. I've seen this in school systems, where if you ask many great teachers, and get this, many great school teachers, why did you get into education? What made you want to teach this subject? Many of them will tell you, because I had a great teacher myself. There was someone who taught me in 6th grade and 8th grade. I said, they gave me a love for this subject. I said, I want to teach this. It was infectious. Their encounter with that teacher not only made them love that subject, it made them want to get into that field. So when you look at any aspect, any industry, what's going on in your team, transformational leaders are all around. Everyone's influenced by someone. What I'm going to tell you today is when you look at what you're trying to accomplish, add some of those traits and values to you. See how you can inspire someone, how you can challenge someone, how you can exhibit a set of values where other people will say, you know what, I want to follow you. I want to be like you because that's the kind of person that I want to be like. And that will bring to my own personal actualization. You can do it. You can become a transformational leader. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Make sure you share this podcast. Go ahead, you can subscribe to the channel. Go to faith2lead.com because right there we actually have a comment and a chat room where we want people to engage and talk about these issues. There's only so much we can talk about right here. I can talk to you, but that lets you talk to me and talk with other leaders. And in that exchange, there's going to be a level of growth that can only come when you get to interact with other leaders. So check us out at faith2lead.com. And just remember, you can win. Thanks for joining us.